The man stabbing the pig with a knife was actually an extraordinary detective. He was an eccentric sleuth whose methods of solving cases often defied comprehension. For instance, he would lock himself inside a suitcase and have someone push it down the stairs just to experience firsthand what the victim felt. By the time he crawled out, he would usually have already identified the perpetrator. This detective's most unique ability was that he could see the different personalities deep within people's minds. Once, in a small shop, he noticed a middle school girl holding a lipstick, while a red-haired girl beside her kept urging, "Steal it, steal it, no one will notice." The girl seemed hesitant. The detective suddenly yelled at the red-haired girl, telling her to get lost. However, in the eyes of others, there was only the schoolgirl. The red-haired girl was merely another self within her, a personality in her subconscious that yearned for rebellion. Due to long-standing mental issues, the detective had been dismissed from the police force long ago. However, one day, a young police officer named He sought him out. It turned out that Officer He was handling an extremely tricky case and had specifically come to seek help, knowing the detective's capabilities. As they were talking, the detective's wife suddenly rushed out to drive Officer He away. Strangely, though, the detective engaged in a fierce physical confrontation with his wife, but in Officer He's eyes, the detective was merely flailing his arms alone, his movements extremely bizarre. It was only later that he understood the so-called wife was actually a manifestation of a personality deep within the detective's mind, and this argument reflected his inner struggle. In the end, the lonely detective decided to come out of retirement and follow Officer Hai to the Major Crimes Unit. They were to investigate a bizarre case of a missing police officer. Last year, 2 officers had pursued a suspect into a forest. One successfully escaped, but the other mysteriously vanished. Even more terrifying, the missing officer's gun was subsequently used in multiple robberies, resulting in 4 deaths. As Officer He was briefing the detective on the case, the detective suddenly heard a woman berating him. He looked up and indeed saw the figure of a woman. In reality, however, this was not an actual woman, but a personified image from the depths of some police officer's mind. The detective stood up and walked straight toward a colleague. In his eyes, the image of that woman hovered over his colleague, but to others, he had punched his male co-worker for no reason. Who could understand that he was actually responding to that officer's inner doubts about him?